In this video, we're going to cover a few basic features of Zoho Books that we'll be using later. Here we are in the settings. Let's start with the Organization's Profile tab. You can add a logo that will be used in the documents you send, like estimates and invoices. And the same applies to all the information listed on this section. Close to the bottom of the page, you will find some fields that your accountant might need, like fiscal year and report basis. And right here, we can see the primary contact and email sender. The sender is used to send documents from Zoho Books. In this case, we're using the Zoho Books email sender, but we can configure our own. This way, our emails are going to come from our organization's email address. Let's click on Configure Email Preferences. And on New Sender, select the email from the dropdown, which has to be a Zoho Books user, add a name, and save it. Now you have to authenticate the domain by adding records to your DNS. If you don't authenticate it, you won't be able to use the email address. In the description, you will find a link to a video we made about how to authenticate domains. Now let's open the Users and Roles tab. Here you will see a list of all the users that have access to Books. Keep in mind that if a user is not listed here, you have to give him access to Books from the Zoho One admin panel. Click on any user to see more information about it. And you can modify the user by clicking on the Edit button. The most important field here is the role, which will indicate what the user can do in Zoho Books. If you need to create or edit a role, you can do it on the Roles tab. For example, let's say we want to create a new profile for our accountant. We can click on New Role or use the Clone button. I'm going to clone the admin profile because the accountant role is very similar to an admin. We're going to name it Accountant, and we are going to uncheck some of the permissions. The accountant should not be able to delete customers or vendors. Now, there are many permissions on this list, and some of them have the option to click on More Permissions. Also, if we keep scrolling down, we will find other permissions like access to settings, dashboards, and reports. All right, let's click on Save. And now we have created this new role that can be assigned to our accountant. If you want to add your accountant to Zoho Books and don't want to pay for an extra Zoho One license, just email Zoho support and they will add the user for you without charging you. Unfortunately, at the time of recording of this video, this is the only way to add an accountant to Zoho Books without paying. Reporting tags is where you can create tags that can be used in any documents you have in Books. So if you're used to tagging records, here's where you can create tags. Finally, we have online payments. Here's where you're going to configure the apps you use to process payments, like Stripe or PayPal. There is a recommended option, but if you click on the View All Payment Gateways, you can find more options. Once you find the app you use, you have to go over the setup process. Sometimes it takes a few days. Once this is set up, you will be able to include payment buttons in your invoices so your clients can pay online.